This is, you know how we do the intro deal? Here it is. Waffle House by the Jonas Brothers might be one of the worst songs ever put to record.
Didn't even
So
know they had a song called Waffle
they have
House.
a song called Waffle House. It came out last Friday. They performed it on SNL. Pitchfork wrote a review for the song. The guy that wrote it is Evan Minsker. Okay. It's from West Virginia originally. He starts this review. This is capital J journalism here. The Jonas Brothers pandered to America's heartland with a song about Waffle House, and in the process, humiliate themselves. And I don't think that there's ever been a better music review in the history of Pitchfork.
Those guys don't look like they've seen a fight at Waffle House.
That's exactly what the reviewer says. He's like, these guys are from New Jersey, A. B, remember there used to be a Christian band? They used to be a purity band. That was the funniest thing I've ever read. I spit my Mellow Yellow. I was sipping Mellow Yellow. I spit it out. It was so funny. And I actually DM the guy on Twitter and said, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever read. Thank you for your service. I never do that. No, of course not. But I never give anybody credit for anything that they do. This guy deserves it. Funniest thing I've ever read. Jonas Brothers, the L of the week for sure. Terrible.
Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squarin' Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Squarin' Around. I'm Jacob Rodriguez. That's Texas State Sports Press Andrew Zimmel. We're doing this old style this week. I did not provide Zimmel with a rundown. I've just been texting him. So we'll see how this goes.
I was going to say, we've had a couple of really good podcasts in the row, and Jacob said, you know what? We're going to fix that. We're going to
fix this formula.
We're going to, instead of giving Zimmel any sort of prep work, we're just going to go roll the ball and see if he can play with it, which is fine by me. We got a lot to talk about.
This week, we all had one thing that we wanted to talk about, and it was the win at UT.
Oh.
Bobcats now 2-0 in Austin in 2 years. That's kind of cool. Nice stat.
Yeah, no, nice. Very good stat. People are even calling it a rivalry, which, you know.
It is a rivalry if you go based on the stat, but it's a pretty one-sided affair, I'd say.
All time, yes. Last 10 years, less one-sided.
This goes back to 1986, I believe.
The Reagan era. Back when the east side of Austin, you could actually live in.
Back when you defend the east side?
Yeah. Defend the east side. Honestly, defend the Alamo #1, defend the east side #2. We need to stop the gentrification of Austin.
What is that? Riverside?
Yeah, man. It's tough. How many nice people who lived in East Austin now have to live in San Antonio, Jacob?
A bunch, actually. Like too many. And more have to live in like Round Rock or Pflugerville or, you know.
You trying to move from east side of Austin to Round Rock? Not a shot in the world. More like, I don't even know. Somewhere probably even further east. And I'm trying to think of a town further east than Austin.
I was right, actually. 1986, this win goes back. We've only won 14 times against the Longhorns since then.
How many times have we played them? Like 40?
55 plus 14 is what? 69? Heyo!
Nice. So in the 69th meeting between these two teams, Texas State wins it.
That should have been something we tweeted. That
checks out. That
pretty
checks
good.
Out. Very nice.
I can't get over that. I was talking to you about this. You know, you called me actually before this game, and you were like, "Dude, we're not going to win. There's no chance." I didn't think so.
Can I give my reason
why?
Go
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Bobcat Ballpark, very friendly to Texas State
and hitters.
To the hitters, but like historically, when Texas State beats UT, it happens more often than not in San Marcos. Now, again, we had that like really beautiful horns down last year in UT or at Dish, which is cool. You know,
had one this year with Tristan Dixon too on the mound.
Yeah.
That one was a
So,
little
but-
bit more subtle, though.
Yeah. But like normally what you get is if Texas State's going to beat UT, it's going to be at Bobcat Ballpark, not in Austin. So for the fact that they should have probably won on Monday night, you know what I mean? Like you look at it and you kind of think about that game a little bit more. Texas State probably should have won. Coming into Tuesday, I was like, I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I do, however, don't like the fact that we look bad on Monday. Love the fact they won on Tuesday. Like the fact that we played these games back to back. Did you think about that? Like a Monday, Tuesday series?
Your alma mater, KTSW, is calling this a weekend game. I like that. It's 2 days back to back, Monday, Tuesday. So that was cool. And Ty Harrington was talking about this on the broadcast, but that was like one of the only games on, on Monday.
Yeah.
So cool. A lot of eyes on it. A lot of eyes on the program. Obviously, everybody wants to watch Texas too. So see how.
Obviously. And what's funny is that like when the Longhorn fan base loses, doesn't count. When they win, yeah, it counts, which I respect, honestly. I know Texas State fans hate it. I respect it.
That's the brand we're slowly building here, too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, that game in Coastal, who cares?
Who cares? Doesn't count. It was a Thursday night game. Doesn't count. Like, I respect the hell out of that because it takes a real lack of self-awareness to continue to pull that off. And shout out to them. Shout out to us.
I like that especially along the I-35 corridor, every team institution is inherently just drinking their own Kool-Aid, and it's like it's the only thing that matters, and nothing can ever tell me different.
Think about it: Baylor, UT, us, UTSA. If you asked any of those fan bases who's the best program in the state, all four of them would be like, "Yeah, it's us." Duh. Like we're the best baseball pro, which, we won the last time these Texas State and UT played. So, I mean, we should be the number one, but good win against a ranked opponent too. That was the other thing that kind of got weird. Is it a top 12 team? Is it a top 19 team?
It was
19. You were like, wow.
It's D1 baseball. That's the thing everybody goes off of. D1 baseball. So
is that it? I go off the NCAA website.
NCAA had them at what? They also had them at 19.
19. Yeah.
Yeah. D1 baseball.
I think
that's the NCAA thing. It's D1 baseball. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, there's a website called D1 Baseball.
Yeah.
And okay, so like let's pump the brakes there, bud. Second off, I do get a kick out of you saying like, is it top 12? Because the top 12 is almost top 10, and top 10 is almost number one. So
you have to go down that rabbit hole. What are you talking about?
Did we almost win? Did we almost beat the best team in the country? It's like,
did we almost beat LSU last night?
Chill out. I respect it. All right.
Well, because there is a 7-team jump between 19 and 12. That's a completely different game. If we got ranked 19 versus 12, that's way better.
Cool. Because you didn't make a rundown, you're all over the fucking place. I have gone hatless now for like longer than any other podcast that we've ever done. So can we do the hat?
Yeah, I want to say too before you bust it out that I am wearing a jersey, bought this jersey with my hard-earned money to support my institution, and some loudmouth on the internet says one thing and gets a free hat from the athletics director himself. 2, actually. So, and the shirt he's wearing, by the way, he got for free 3 years ago.
Yeah. So some of us are, I don't know, royalty, and some of us are just podcast hosts. So I reached out to Don on that podcast saying, where is our merch? And he said, for you to buy. And I said, for me to wear, because I'm sick and tired of people on the internet telling me I'm not a big enough Bobcat fan. You go back and clip that. Jacob, you lazy ass producer, didn't clip that. Fine. So I get this in the mail on Monday. I got 2 hats. First hat, very nice, 10 out of 10. It's got like a paneling in the back that's going to be very nice to wear during the summer. The other one, arguably almost nicer, right? Black hat you can wear during the winter months, Bobcat in the front. The nicest part though, Jacob, not only is it Adidas, but it says inside here, it says end plastic waste. So we're trying to save the environment. So Don and the Texas State Athletic Department, after all of the grief I've given you over the years, you're still clothing me. I want to thank you.
So you're in the good graces of the athletics department. I'm really glad.
Again,
I get on here week to week and defend the lead SID for Texas State, Chris Coots, our boy, guy that makes kind of some stuff happen behind the scenes on here, help us get some interviews. I say he's the best in the country, best to ever do it. Zimmel gets on here and goes, 1%er guy. He's responsible for 1% of the success of this team. No gear, no nothing. Helped establish the biggest name in Texas State sports right now, at least on the Twitter world.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Sucks to be you. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
It didn't help created, I should say.
Sucks to be you, bud. Shout out to the Texas State Athletic Department. Nice Bobcat hat. Nice Bobcat shirt. I got a windbreaker from them. I got a couple of stickers if you want to, put a decal on your helmet. I'm good to go. I'm set over here. You, on the other hand, continue to be just a podcaster.
Just get
I'm
trashed.
the prez. You're the podcaster. Princess and the Peach. So,
Princess and the Popper.
yeah, pretty much. That would be you, buddy.
That's such bullshit, dude. We were talking about this earlier. What is the scariest part of this team for you? Is it pitching or is it fielding? I think fielding is a little bit more scarier because that's something that the guys on the mound cannot control.
Now, this is funny. And you're saying this now, and I like that you're putting your name on it right now, so that when we have the pitching coach on in like a week, I think we said we were going to try to bring on the coach. Little bit of a spoiler for you. We're bringing on Texas State coaches. Shocker, I know. So you're putting your name on it now that you think the pitching has been okay. You're blaming the other 7 guys behind him.
Yes.
Okay. That's a very fair take.
And I should say pitching has been up and down. That's something that's inescapable for this. It's well documented in games where we get blown out, i.e. UTSA and San Marcos, Coastal, some other games too.
And what's funny,
Grand Canyon.
What's funny is that Coastal, like after beating us, hasn't been very good. And I haven't done enough research into knowing why they have kind of been up and down, but like they haven't been like that type of team after beating us, which is just funny to me. Yeah, I'm not giving you that. I'm not saying
they all went to Myrtle Beach, just started partying.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach. What they call it? The Talladega of South Carolina. Which
who the hell says that?
I don't know. The people of Myrtle Beach. It's sure as hell not Daytona. So anyway,
Texas State baseball 21-13, Coastal Carolina 21-10. By the way,
21-10. I thought they were 18. Anyway,
3-game series.
Point is, I'm not pointing out. I'm not giving you the fielding credit because the fielding. I think this goes back to my take of like April baseball. You're still trying to figure it out. May is when I start really like caring. Middle of May is when you really start having to tighten up the screws. Maybe it's the fielding, but the pitchers allowing these hard hit balls. That to me is a bigger worry.
Well, you're a pitcher. Steve Trout called you a off-speed pitcher. So with an off-speed pitcher, you really rely on throwing a ball that can be hit but cannot be scored on.
Sure. So you're saying that we have wiffle ball pitchers?
I'm not saying that we have wiffle ball pitchers.
Okay. That's what I'm hearing.
No, we threw gas last night. But that has not been a consistent thing.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Like my point can stand that I blame more of the pitching allowing these hitters to hit hard hit balls than the other way around, to say that these fielders are just having such a tough time fielding the baseball. They are percentage wise. I wanted to say, I think they're like bottom 4 when it comes to fielding percentage in the Sun Belt Conference this year. However, I'm not willing to say that it's the fielders' fault that we are losing these games that we've been losing, because I think it does go on to the pitchers more.
Officially 500, by the way, in conference play.
Texas State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not talking about Coastal anymore.
Early April.
Is that
a concern to you?
We're talking about this earlier too, but is Fiesta San Antonio the panic button that the baseball world needs? You start handing out your medals, start wondering, will I make the cut for the spring or the summer, really? But still,
I don't know. Is that where? I don't know. I don't think so.
I just have San Antonio brain right now. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, Fiesta is a big part. Fiesta is a huge part. Is Texas State doing anything for that?
The Alumni Association in San Antonio always does something. They have a medal every year.
Yeah. But the baseball sports aren't doing anything.
Oh, fuck no. Of course
Yeah.
not.
Okay. So
I guess technically, if you want to be technical, and this is how I always bring it back to San Antonio and Texas State, is next week, UTSA plays Texas State. UTSA Roadrunners shellacked the Bobcats last time. This time, Texas State goes over to their bleachers in a field in the middle of San Antonio and gets to play there. So we'll see what happens. I will be there. I am afraid, obviously, UTSA coming off a big win against A&M last night.
Yeah.
We have a win against UT. That's our 4th ranked win this year so far. We have 2 against Southern Miss, 1 against TCU, and this one against Texas. Which matters more? Question mark. Andrew.
The UTSA one. I know it's dumb. I know UT's ranked. I know that people are going to say the ranked wins matter more. I'm going UTSA just because of the rivalry.
That is a deep-seated rivalry too. Over 100 games played versus 69. Nice.
So the thing is that like San Antonio is such a hub for really good baseball players. If you go through some of the best baseball players in the country, a lot of them are in San Antonio. I don't imagine a lot of the high schools care all that much about Texas State and UTSA playing in the middle of a week. I do, however, think that if you beat UTSA and you get like a little bit of a streak going here, you can go into high schools and you might be able to recruit some of these really good San Antonio baseball players by telling them the team in town kind of sucks. Maybe you lie to them because that's kind of what that would be, a little bit of a stretch of the truth. Beating them in San Antonio, also super big. Beating UT, huge. Beating UTSA, I'm giving it a slight edge.
Well, and this is a perfect segue into the next thing I want to talk about. But I got to be on Dave Campbell's deal this week, talking about Texas State, always talking about hashtag take back Texas. But the thing I was talking to them about is that Texas State has been there. In the past, in the Southwest days, they won 2 D2 national title games. I actually was informed the other day that my father was at one of those games in the
one in the Valley
for the Palm Bowl. Yeah,
in McAllen.
Yeah.
You know who they beat?
Who'd they beat?
North Dakota State, baby.
Really? Wow!
Yes,
look at
sir.
us. It all just comes circling back.
Yes, sir. Beat the Bison.
That's called. Someone call that fate, Andrew. You and I.
Pretty good stuff.
Has the prophecy foretold of squaring around? Anyway, what I was telling them about is that Texas State and everything could always be better, but it does have the facilities. Whereas UTSA, and if you watch anything that San Antonio media does, Jeff Traylor is always on TV, essentially begging for money, begging for institutional support, begging for UTSA to turn the next page in its book to be a true dominant like powerhouse, because he's getting these players, he's getting these people who want to trend upward as his program is. And guess what? They're getting scooped up left and right because UTSA doesn't have the money to keep them that long. Player side, coaching side, facility side. I mean, I already talked about it, but baseball has a field with bleachers in it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, were you talking about coaches or players or what the deal was with UTSA?
Everything, Jimmy.
You're talking everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you find that is kind of lame? When
they actually did their pro day, I'm pretty sure, at a high school if it was raining. That was their backup plan. At least I go back to that soundbite that Jeff Traylor
What
had.
is our backup plan would be to do it at San Marcos High. So I'm not.
That's everybody's backup plan. San Marcos High, by the way, is basically a D1 facility because Texas State used to play there back in the day.
Spav has argued that it is the D1 facility in San Marcos. I think that it's interesting, right? The different ways that these two different institutions do it, right? When it comes to fundraising, Jeff Traylor going on television asking for money, whereas our people do emails. You know what I mean? Like Don came on our podcast and kind of was like, look, this is kind of the goal. This is the plan. We ribbed me a little bit about, hey, why isn't Zimmel giving some money? Why am I not funding the football facility the way that, I'm rolling in dough? So it's like, he kind of does it in different, we do it in different ways. Texas State does it in a different kind of way than UTSA does.
And I'll say too, right after that podcast, Texas State announced a major donation once again. Thanks in part, maybe not thanks in part, to the Squarin Around podcast. But the baseball team getting a $1 million donation from Taylor Sibley, former All-American at Texas State. Yeah, they got to have him out at UT game, which is the one I thought Texas State had the best shot at winning because they get all that juice in that program, right? This guy's going to give us $1 million for a proposed $8 million project expansion that includes new locker rooms for the softball team, baseball team, 3 batting cages, bunch of other stuff. Really fancy. I'll post the renderings here too. But yeah, I thought we had the better shot of winning that one because of all the momentum, you would think, and we're talking about this reawakening of the Texas State fan experience. I think that's got to be up there too. Is like, well, if you start winning, you start putting things on a map, people start making podcasts about your program, you will get donations, you will get notoriety, you will have success.
I do respect the hell out of you for continuing to plug the podcast on the podcast. That takes real branding. Because if you're not listening to the Squaring Around podcast, I mean, you should totally listen to it, right? So I agree with what you're saying here. It all comes at a very interesting time that you have your end zone complex, you have your baseball renovation, you have your head coach for football that gets announced. Like all of this kind of works in the same direction. The biggest thing, Jacob, you got to capitalize in the fall. That's the thing. Texas State baseball this season could have a really good year. They could go to a super regional. They could win a super regional. They could end up in Omaha. That would be great. Winning in the fall is the biggest thing.
Ultimately, we will be in the same position we are in now because Texas State baseball did have a great season last year. And guess what happened? Brought in all that momentum.
Yep.
Big Spavital's last year. We didn't know that, but it was his last year.
Honestly, you're kind of kidding here, but I think a lot of fans had a little bit of carryover from the early summer. You had 2 months, a month and a half.
You start posting those hype videos.
Football season started, and I think people were really jazzed. And it shouldn't be this way because every other university I think in the world goes football season, and then that energy carries into basketball into baseball. But at Texas State, which is a baseball school, let's be honest.
Because the football team is tweeting about the baseball team now. Mm-hmm. Shout out.
It's kind of like the baseball program has had to be, and we'll talk softball here in a moment, is the thing that has really energized everybody to go to football. Now, you want to keep that energy going. You want to keep that momentum going. And again, like I said, at the beginning of this whole monologue, GJ's got to win in the fall. It's funny, but that's kind of how it is.
Football's king in Texas. I'm sorry.
If he wins in the fall, it's going to be funny. You'll talk to Coach Z. You'll talk to TJ. And for basketball, they'll both tell you that if we have a really good football season, that energy will carry into basketball. It's weird the way that it works, but it's true.
I'll say too, and you have experience covering the teams, with me too, but every team has a certain sect of fans. We've experienced this getting followers, getting new people exposed to the podcast. Mm-hmm. Volleyball has their own fans. Softball has their own fans. Baseball is not really united, but winning cures all, right? So if GJ starts winning, we go 13-0, do something insane. Everybody's bag is going to go up at Texas State. And that's what they're going to try to do too. Basketball wins. Everything starts trending upward at the university.
You don't want to be the one left out. You don't want to be the one left out when we're talking about all the good schools or all the good teams. So, yeah, I mean, good stuff.
And this is also a great transition to my next topic, Zimmel, which is, as Tom Madden likes to call them, the Bob Horns. I have a very passionate stance on this, which is unless you went to school at that university, you can support whoever you want. If you did not go to school, if that's not your path in life, that's fine. But if you went to Texas A&M and then you are turning around and supporting Vanderbilt or something weird like that, or you're a Texas State fan and you're supporting UT, what the hell is that?
I understand the frustration. However, the athletic department did not pay you to root for them. You paid to go to that school. And if you don't want to root for your school, I look at you askance, but that is your right. Now, I understand where you're coming from with that. It's funny though. So you're saying blue collar guy, trade school Turner can root for whoever he wants.
Yeah.
But Texas State fan can't. All right.
No, if you paid to go to school there, that's it. You're a Bobcat. whether you like it or not. I'm sorry. That is your path in life. The prophecy hath foretold.
I will say this. I think that if you are a fan of a team that's very good, like let's just say an Alabama fan or an LSU fan right now, right? And you have people who are bandwagoning on your school, you're not going to complain. If Texas State gets good and people
but you do a little bit of an eye roll, you know?
You don't know that because you haven't had a school that's good. See, that's the thing.
That's true. This is the only school I've ever supported
Yeah.
since I became, obviously, I watched the Longhorns, I watched the Aggies, I watched a lot of high or college football growing up. But when you commit to a school, you have your committed moment. You make a little announcement on twitter.com and say where you're going. I think things change. You start paying tuition, things really change.
I get it. I understand where you're coming from. T-shirt fans are welcome on this side of the camera because
if you want to come and support the Bobcats and be miserable with us from time to time, come on down. See, misery does love company.
But so you're not going to gatekeep Texas State, but you're going to gatekeep other schools.
Yeah. Well, other schools that insist upon that they are better than Texas State.
Every school does that, though. Every school insists that they're better than the other school. We're insisting that we're better than Texas baseball right now.
True,
you know what I mean?
True.
So it's like, I get where people are coming from. I'm not going to tell you who you need to root for here or anything like that. I do think it's going to be interesting, though, because you said you're not going to gatekeep Texas State. I think you're 1,000% going to gatekeep Texas State. And for those fans that join Texas State late when we are good at stuff, I want to let you know I am your ally. I will not big time you. I will be your friend. Jacob, on the other hand, will tell you, you weren't here when we were going 2-9. I don't want to hear it. So I'm just letting you know now that I'm your friend. Jacob is the enemy.
We were in the mentions of a group of 5 post too, not because of anything we've done on this podcast or our notoriety, but because of this take. I hate T-shirt fans. I'll be the first to admit it. I will say to any Bobcats out there on the fence about coming back, on the fence of pledging money to go to any of these athletic support endeavors that the university is doing, it's never too late to come back home.
Okay.
Feels good.
Okay, the rehabilitation of the Texas State fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's kind of what it is. We talked about it with Don last week, but that's kind of what is going on at the athletics department. They knew some things weren't operating at the level at which they wanted, and they're doing things now to fix it. Kind of like the UFC, which has 3 Mexican-born champions now trying to book a Mexico UFC.
Yep.
You got to pivot sometimes as a department, program, entity. This is quickly becoming like a UT podcast, basically. But you wanted to talk about the rivalry separate from baseball, softball. And we've looked good against Texas this year. Now we're hosting them this week.
Yeah, hosting this week. Now, we're recording this right before they play, so we don't know the results of UT versus Texas State or softball. I wanted to put this on the record that historically speaking, UT softball greater than Texas State. In the last 15 years, I would argue that Texas State softball is just an inch lower than UT. And the only reason is because Kat Osterman played about 15 years ago. If you take Kat Osterman's years away from Texas, I'm just being honest, you take those years away where she was probably the best college athlete in America for a 4-year period, which is, saying a lot. But if you take her away and those years away, Texas State closes that gap immensely. I think that Ricky Woodard and this squad right now could play a series with about anybody in the country. I'm not saying they win every series, but I think that they could play a series with anybody in the country. And I think 10 years ago, I don't know if you could say that. So I think that we're in a really good spot with softball. I want to put that on the record here. I want to tell you that I'm a big believer in the softball team, even though the pitching has still been kind of suspect and they really don't have that second ace that we thought that they would. That's fine. You can win a card game with 1 ace. Can you win a series?
It will be hard, but yeah, you can. Since that this year's initial win, right, when we were ranked right ahead of that Texas Tech game, we hadn't beaten Texas since April 11th, 2018. And it was the first win in Austin since 2017.
Yeah. Little history lesson for you.
Little
Crack the
history
textbooks.
lessons. Yeah, I do think the pitching is suspect. We've seen that on the road.
But
Kind of come in bunches.
It's just, this is messed up. And, when we bring players and coaches on, I will own up to this. Right now, I'm telling you, it's everybody but Jessica. Like, all the pitching besides Jess has been suspect. You can't count on it. And that you can't. I don't know if you can win games like that. I don't know if you can win games.
Do you think as a program, like, you have a clear number one? Is it possible for anybody else to really measure up to that?
100%. Because right now, Texas baseball has two guys who are top in the Big 12 and probably top 15 in the country when it comes to starting pitchers. You can have two great pitchers. It's not illegal to have two great pitchers. The problem is that because Texas State is so, I don't want to say committed to this, but it kind of feels like if we need to win a game, Jess is going to get those starts. McMillan's going to get those starts. Whereas you don't give anybody else the opportunity to kind of figure it out, right? Like, she's so good that if you want to win the game, you're not going to sit her. You're going to have to play her. My question is when you get into a tournament, like say the Sun Belt tournament at the end of the year, and you only have one pitcher, can you ride that pitcher all the way through? We've seen it work with Randy Rupp. We've seen it work with some other pitchers. I don't know if this is the right formula, right? And you know how I feel about this, Jacob. Regular season's great. Baseball and softball a little bit different than basketball. I think if you win the regular season in baseball and softball, it means a little bit more than winning the regular season in basketball. You can go through the whole regular season, but when you get to that Sun Belt tournament, I think you need to have another pitcher. And right now, it's mid-April. There's still a little bit of time. I don't think they have that second pitcher.
It's really about managing plateaus, right? Like, you have a pitcher get hot, or you have a hitter, in our case, Texas State, Chase Mora, really hot. Seems like he'll never not be
for
hot.
Baseball. Yeah.
But, we're almost in May. You start to kind of get in a rhythm, or you'd fall off of it. And it's kind of managing expectations and managing stats.
We're almost in May.
Nearly. It's halfway, baby.
It's April 12th.
April 12th. That's like halfway.
No, the 15th is halfway.
You know why? It's because I'm in San Antonio, and I'm already fast forwarding to Fiesta. 2 weeks of partying, baby.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. But I'm just letting you know we're still in early April.
But I mean, it's not early April. Early April is like April 8, April 7.
It's early April.
That's that Bandera baseball at work again.
I'm just telling you, it's early. It's still early April. The 15th is mid-April. After that, you're in late April.
All right, Zimmel, I've said it before. We do real news on this podcast once in a blue moon. This one coming from Cat's Corner Podcast. They have a tweet that says, "Hey, K-Damp, can we make this happen?" The quote tweet in it is relocating the Star back to either Jackson or the highest new building on campus. That way anyone on I-35 can see it. Hey, K-Damp, can we make this happen? I didn't know that the Star at Jackson Hall had been moved, either because of construction or because of other things. I know, just based on my experience as a university Star reporter and the student government, because that was my beat, unfortunately, for a while, and just covering all the things that they get into. But they had a plan to put it on Alkek like a long time ago. Now, Kelly DMs us back, says, I have a couple plans and might do both. We need people to be able to see the Star when it's lit.
Okay, cool. I mean, like, I don't like it being on Alkek. I would really not like it on Old Main. So if that's what they want to do, like, fine, have at it. I think that there's an easier way to do it. Firework. Send off a single maroon firework. Dude, every time we win a game.
That we already do fireworks at the football game.
Oh, I know. No, we do it for football. But like every time Texas State wins a game, set off a firework.
That's a singular red flare that messes up everybody's night vision, you know?
Yep. That'll throw.
No, there's a way to do this. Just make the Star bigger on Jackson Hall. What do you mean?
Yeah. No, everybody would know. You shoot a firework off, everybody in town's going to know Texas State won a game.
Just a flare gun on the top of Jackson Hall. You send the janitor up there. Boom.
I think it's a good idea. Call me, Kelly.
You'll cut budgets for sure at Texas State if you do that.
Well, you're gonna build a new star. That's not gonna be a budget problem.
No, I don't think so.
I think my flare gun idea is a good idea.
How much money do you think this university is clearing a year? A lot.
Yeah,
A bunch.
You would know, Mr. Pocket Watcher. You would know, Mr. Oh, this guy gets paid this much. This guy gets paid this much.
Well, this jersey, I'll say too, after shipping was $86. So I know they have some money in there.
Nobody in the history of Texas State has kept a closer eye on the books than you and the accountant.
Me, Eric Algo, VP of Finance, man.
The fact you know that is a problem.
I interviewed him all the time in college, man.
Insane. Do you have a group chat where you talk about like, Roth IRAs, 401ks? Do you figure out like how much NIL deals are?
Hey, man, how much are you contributing? Just got to know.
Exactly.
Hey, did you see that tweet I sent you about the UT fan who got her car keyed up?
Yeah, I don't know. How do I know that's a Texas State fan?
I have a few issues with this too, right?
Okay.
So let me backtrack for our audience.
Flash
here.
the tweet here.
Yeah.
And then,
Backtracking for my audience. This is from at Texas Fancy Boots. She says, officially and unabashedly, semicolon, fuck Texas State fan. Which
Love
is a sentiment I could kind of get behind. But she's talking in reference to her Bronco, which has Longhorn horns on it, getting keyed up. And she says that this has never happened before. She's been to a bunch of other places. The only other time this has ever happened has been at A&M with a different car. She's had several other different like Longhorn kind of cars. She's like a super fan.
Honestly, we're looking pretty good. If we can be in the same rivalry with UT as A&M, hey man, Maroon unite. I like it.
Well, at the same time, I do not endorse anybody doing anything violent ever.
But like, I don't.
Obviously, that's just kind of shitty fan behavior. If it is, but obviously, it's not hard to do the math, right? Texas State's playing. Texas State wins. Somebody gets drunk and says, "Hey, I'm going to key this car." Also, she said on Twitter.com that a lot of people were either escorted out or arrested at the game. So I actually emailed UTPD to get to the bottom of this and try to clear Texas State's name, because I don't want us to go around, win games and shit, and then people think we're just going to flip cars and other bullshit.
Do it at home. Don't do it on the road. It's my take.
Do it at home, not on the road.
Yeah. Don't flip cars in other places. Do it at home.
San Marcos Police Department actually looking for a person who stole a car too a couple nights ago. So we have our own problems there, I should say. I'm just not even fan related, just crime.
I'm just letting you know. I don't know, but like, I've never heard of that happening before. I've never seen that happen before. Like, we've been doing this for 6 years now, Jacob, covering Texas State. Like, I've never heard of this before. Now, somebody in the comments or on Twitter will tell us like this happened to them. And if that happened to you, I'm very sorry about that. But like, I've never seen or heard of this before. I don't know how you can say it's a Texas State fan. Like,
yeah,
that's just
I do think that signaling and just being like, hey, this was definitely a Texas State fan. Fuck you guys. Like, that's kind of a little much.
Yeah. Well,
and that's what turned off a lot of people too. A lot of Texas State people were like, hey man, what the hell? We didn't do that shit. That's some asshole.
Yeah. Like, and if it is a Texas State fan, man, fuck you. But like the rest of us, like, I mean, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, I don't know. I like I said, I saw the tweet. I didn't engage. I don't think you should engage on tweets like that. You just let them be mad. But like, I just, I don't know. That's it to me. Kind of rough to say all Texas State fans are an encompass of that. Let us do it 15 more times, and then we can have a conversation.
No, like, yeah. If we carve Texas State was here, I get it.
And was that the thing, or was it just a keyed up car?
It was just keyed up, yeah.
I mean,
with a car that has Longhorn horns on it. The same night, Texas State upsets number 19.
Texas State, PETA. I mean, we both have issues with this car, right? I'm just saying, there's a lot of suspects here. I don't think Texas State should be the only one getting some heat.
Live mascot, Texas State doesn't have a Bobcat right behind Pause and Market anymore.
I begged them to bring a live Bobcat out there. And
you know how big Bobcats are? They're pretty big.
Yeah, it only costs like $10,000 to get one.
What do you mean? They're free outdoors.
You go get a feral bobcat and you bring it into Bobcat Stadium. You got a problem. You domesticate it though. Teach it how to love.
Do you understand how the domestication process of animals works? First of all, you find a wild animal, convince it to breed, rip the kitten away. This is what they do to whales. And that's how SeaWorld is a thing.
Hey, man, if we were the Texas State Whalers, I'd ask for a live mascot too.
Texas State Whalers? We're going to keep that. Jowers?
Pretty much. Could you imagine? That'd be so much fun.
It'd be so dumb. Is there any there's no whale mascots, right?
No. Shamu? No.
That seems
God,
like a Ted Lasso mascot,
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's any aquatic live mascots. Texas State Dolphins? People would hate us if we had a live dolphin. Could you imagine rolling a fucking...
I already hate the Dolphins, to be honest.
Roll an aquarium out there with a dolphin in it, people would be pissed. People would not be happy.
The Quidditch team has a B team called the San Marcos Sharknadoes. Take?
Okay, cool.
No take?
Boo. I don't want it to do... No.
Oh, this is perfect, Zimmel. It's basically like we had a rundown. Like you have the best producer working for you right now. But, the Mermaids. Just got a text in from our brand manager. Texas State history.
Yeah, no, mermaids, that's another good one. But, mermaids don't exist. So what we'd have, like, whales?
You mean Ocarina Springs?
Seals? Because weren't seal... what were they called? The
swimming pigs?
No, what's the thing? Yeah, well, there's one. But, like, I don't want a pig as a mascot.
You don't want Major Tuddy?
No, it's not kosher. What am I thinking of? What did Christopher Columbus see? He thought they were mermaids. Manatees.
Manatees.
You have a manatee as a mascot. That would be something.
That's a good metaphor for Texas State seeing success on the field.
Manatees?
Christopher Columbus on the boat for a long time, sees a manatee. This is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Texas State seeing some success finally in the spring, in the summer, hopefully in the fall. Hope it's not a manatee.
Clip it. Pretty good.
Also on the animal front, Texas State football player Tyler Huff nursing a baby bird back to health. Have you seen that?
I have not. I'm good.
You're good? I'm
good.
Papa Huff, congratulations, buddy.
See, this is the difference between... Yeah, no, shout out to you for helping a bird. I mean, whatever, cool. But, like, this is the difference between you and me, right? You, morning producer, you got to find the little nice feel-good stories. Me, a heartless guy who does afternoon radio, I don't care. I don't. Shout out to the bird. Glad you got some health. You spent $86 on a fake baseball jersey. You can buy a real football jersey from, I think, Lane Hatcher's parents, selling it for $30 on eBay.
It's not Lane Hatcher, definitely.
I have been reaching out to Texas State players, asking them, what do you make of this? Now, none of them have given me a comment yet, so no harm, no foul there. I won't take it personally. I was so close to buying it because I think it would be so funny to wear, because that is like the peak of like a Kyrie Irving Boston Celtics jersey or like a Michael Jordan Wizards jersey. Like Lane Hatcher was here for this much amount of time. Like
that's the same thing as a Kevin Durant Spurs jersey. It's like a thing that should never have been a thing, should never have been asked for. It's just a thing that fucking and according to suspect reports, right? Lane Hatcher apparently funneling money to the university, coaching staff, whatever it may have been, trying to get some playing time.
See, this is another funny rumor because if you're a fan, you believe that he is not only paying to play, right? You
want to pay to play on this team? Okay.
But like you're also not what do you get to pay to be on the Texas State team? You and me get to do it as like hey, I was a former Bobcat, and we get to flex that every time we go to the rec. I can, pick up a case of water, losing my breath, and be like, former Division I athlete. That's what we get if we were on the team. Okay, what does he get? He gets
what you actually get real time? Sacked. That's what happens if you're the quarterback at Texas State. If you're at least in the past 3 years.
and you get a bunch of people on Twitter. I just tweeted that. It's like, here's some news. And people were like, man, burn that jersey. So like not a happy fan base, to say the absolute least.
What's the bid right now on that? Do you know?
It's $30. You can buy it now for $30. Now
You haven't done it. Why don't you do it?
Because I don't like Lane Hatcher. Like,
I would do it just to have it, just so nobody else does.
no, I'm good. Somebody put in the fake Don account, the parody account that has like 2 followers. That guy offered $1 for it, I think, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll want more than $1." I thought $15, just because it costs. It looks nice, man. It doesn't look bad. It looks like they spent some money to put it together.
Because it has a superficial snag or something on it. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he didn't play.
No.
He got caught in the locker room on a hanger, probably.
Yeah, you know. So I don't. Whatever. People are high on him when he got here, though. That's the other thing.
But that's the thing, is that everybody's just drinking that Kool-Aid again, going, whoa. You know?
Yeah.
Meantime, we do have a true D1 4-star quarterback, Malik Hornsby.
Okay. 13-0? Still 6-6? Halfway through
Dave
April?
Campbell's asked me this week, what do you think? And I did not give a number. I did say Kelly's going 13-0, though. I was like, Kelly says 13-0.
Halfway through April, still 6-6?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still 6-6. Dude, the Fun Belt, crazy. And then our non-conference schedule is not friendly. Not friendly.
Oh, so then this is the second thing. And we're putting this to bed right now. Texas State leaving the Sun Belt. Absolute dumbest thing I've ever read in my entire life. You can print that. This is an awful idea. They would never happen. You talk to everybody and anybody related to the Sun Belt. Here's the thing. The media contract currently for Texas State pays them $500,000, which in the grand scheme of things, I thought it'd be more, especially when you look at other conferences. The Sun Belt deal in a couple of years is going to be insane. I think they're going to get paid a lot of money. The Mountain West allegedly is where some dumbass Twitter account said that Texas State would go. You look at the region.
We can say it's a dumbass Twitter account now that we have more than 400 followers and they only have 100.
Awful Twitter account. I had Sunbelt fans texting me being like, are you really responding to this? That's how crazy it was. So, like, here's the thing. The Mountain West right now, as constructed, are paying their TV partners $4 million. It's like a $270 million contract over the next 10 years. Every year you get $4 million, which is a lot more, clearly, than Texas State, right? That they're currently. You look at the geography, it makes zero geographical sense for Texas State to be playing in the Mountain West. Because even if you're making the $4 million, you're spending close to $2 million of that having to travel.
Devil's advocate, we are the only Texas school in the Sun Belt. Doesn't really make a ton of sense for us to be here.
But here's the thing: we would be the only Texas school in the Mountain West. That, like, it doesn't make any sense.
Just keep that going. We're gonna go to the American Conference once UTSA leaves and be the only Texas school there.
It is the worst. Honestly, it was the worst idea I've ever seen. The other thing is that, like, as a Texas State fan, you like those East Coast kickoffs, the 11 a.m. kickoff that you can kind of roll out of bed and just go do, or would you like to get up at like whatever you get up at noon? And you know that you're not going to see a kickoff till 9 p.m. because you're kicking off in San Diego or San Jose. Like, you don't want the Pacific time. Nobody wants the Pacific time. The Big Ten, even when they took USC and UCLA, they don't want the Pacific time. They accept it begrudgingly, but they don't want it. Nobody wants the West Coast time zone except the people who live in the West Coast, and those guys don't even like sports. So it's like, this whole thing is so stupid. It's dumb. And the other thing is, it was Old Dominion would be joining a different conference. They just got here. So, like, what type of turnaround is that? That's like if I started dating somebody and Jacob said to me, like, she's probably going to date Brad Pitt. We just started dating. Can you just, like, accept that, like, for the next month we're happy before you're telling me that she's going to go cheat on me with another conference? Leave me alone. Terrible tweets. Don't interact. What's
the last school that the Sun Belt lost as a conference player? UTA or New Mexico State?
Well, for basketball it'd be UTA. For football,
but
I think
UTA is no longer in the Sun Belt. It doesn't participate at all.
I know. I'm telling you that they didn't have football. I think New Mexico State was the last school for football.
Where are they now?
The Mountain West.
Fuck.
But they were the closest. They were the closest team in the Sun Belt when they were there with us. Now, no longer.
There's a lot that goes into all that shit, but I think the Sun Belt's a really good.
It's an
conference as a whole.
incredible conference.
Really good, and they have their stuff together with TV rights and all that. That's the hardest thing to do. To give that up, to sacrifice all that. You're talking about decades worth of contracts that have to be litigated,
yes,
thought out, paid out.
And that's the thing. So like Mountain West right now, they're losing San Diego State. That's why they would replace us with Texas State, which is so stupid. But like mathematically speaking, right? If they don't renegotiate the contract, which is with Fox Sports and CBS, which you don't want, you want one TV partner. Sunbelt has that with ESPN. You don't want to try to like be looking every Saturday where my game is. But it's okay. Say they don't replace San Diego State and say that those two television partners don't renegotiate the contract this year. That means all those schools get paid more money because there's one less partner at the table. So it's like, what are we doing? This is stupid. Also, that guy had no sources. Here's the thing. When we
He just said it. Yeah.
Yeah. When we tell you, when Jacob or I, or let's say we'll throw Colton in there, who is like squaring around adjacent.
What about B Snow?
No. when Jacob or I or Colton, or we'll throw Kev in there too. When the four of us say, hey, Texas State might leave. When we say that as like this is a news report, this isn't us, just talking, blowing smoke, they might actually leave. Then you believe it. But when a random Twitter account tells you, hey, this might happen, BS. It's fertilizer. They're trying to make you grow some blue bonnets because it's not happening. It's not happening.
You know why? It's because our careers are attached to our shit. So we can't really just go around saying shit every once in a while.
I will, personally, I will continue just to blow smoke, but I'll let you know that we're blowing smoke. That like, hey, nothing's attached to this. This is what we're hearing. Or this is what I think.
It just makes no sense. That's why, that's why
Zero.
You and I were so quick to shut it down on both our account and your account. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard today.
It's just, let's wrap it up on that. Texas State in the Sun Belt. Right now, we're lucky to even be at the Tea Party. Okay?
Honestly.
We're baseball's good. Basketball programs are set. Volleyball continues to kick ass. All that's great. Football, of course, the front porch. We're lucky that we continue to get invited to the cookout. Because let's be honest here, we are bringing like salad. We're bringing salad with freaking raisins in it. All right.
Also, our president serves on the Sun Belt board, and now he also, this is before Texas State, but he has served and continues to serve on the NCAA board too.
That doesn't matter.
So for him to be behind some kind of marionette puppet, if Texas State makes a move, it'll be very apparent very quickly.
Yes. Yep.
And you're going to hear about it first.
Right here. God, I'm white.
Zimmer, we're talking about gear this whole podcast. I'm jealous. There's a way for me to not get jealous, and that's for me to go to Elite Sports. They're the ones that partner with Texas State athletes. They've got a bunch of stuff. They have an entire site dedicated to just their Texas State athletes that we can plug. If you use code SQUARE, you help us out a lot. You also put money right back into student athletes' pockets. Use code SQUARE at checkout. That's SQUARE. Follow us on Twitter, too. More things coming on the brand deal side.
We refuse to buy hymns for me to save my hair. So what we got to do is continue to collect hats.
Well, yeah, what a fun little wrap-up week. I thought we were going to be a little bit more depressed, though. I will say, shout out to the baseball team for winning. Shout out to the softball team for continuing to do well. I hope things go our way, though, on both sides for pitching.
Look, snow's off the ground up here, Jacob, so you couldn't tell me that I'm going to be depressed. I'm out. I'm so excited. I'm beyond enjoyed.
How many months of reprieve do you have up there?
We talk about like not having snow.
Mm-hmm. Not having snow on the ground.
4, 5.
Get it while it's hot. Friday, $1 hot dog night at the ballpark.
Ask me about my wiener.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. eat 'em up.